Good morning, distinguished guests, dear ladies and gentlemen. My name is Esra Nelvi Siagian. I am the Deputy Director Program at Siameo Kitab in Language. The Honorable Mr. Hendarman, PhD, the Acting Head of Cooperation and Public Relations Bureau of the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic Indonesia. Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, Director of Siameo Secretariat. Dr. Luhani Mayani, Director of Siameo Kitab in Language, and all speakers, invited guests, and distinguished participants. Welcome to the virtual opening ceremony of the online language training program. The ceremony will be followed by a webinar and the theme Improving Teachers' Foreign Language Competence in the Digital Era. We would like to thank all invited guests present in the panelist room and all online language training participants for joining us at this Zoom meeting, as well as those who are joining us from the YouTube live streaming. There are three things on the agenda today. Firstly, the opening ceremony of the online language training program. Secondly, the webinar on the theme Improving Teachers' Foreign Language Competence in the Digital Era. And finally, technical information of the implementation of the online language training. Now, we are going to begin our opening ceremony by listening to the national anthem Indonesia Raya, Siameo Colors, and Siameo Songs.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happy. Here at Symbios, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and glee. Here at Symbios, building the future is our legacy. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and glee. Here at Symbios, building the future is our legacy. Building the future is our legacy. At
Director of Siameo Kitab in Language, Dr. Luani Mayani, will now present the overview of the online training program that will be conducted in the next 3 months. Dr. Luani Mayani, please.
Thank you, Ibu Esra. A very good morning to you all. First of all, I would like to extend a very warm regards to our honorable guest, Bapak Insinyur Hendarman, MSc, PhD, the acting head of Cooperation and Public Relations Bureau, the General Secretariat, the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Itel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, Board of Directors of Simeo Center Indonesia, Dr. Luisa F. Saidi, the Head of Center of Development and Empowerment of Teachers and Education Personnel for Language, representative of Education Offices for Yogyakarta, West Kalimantan, and East Nusa Tenggara, honorable guests or representative from Indonesian University of Education, State University of Indonesia, State University of Yogyakarta, State University of Semarang, Al-Azhar University Indonesia, and the State Institute for Islamic Studies of Surakarta, Indonesia. Honorable keynote speakers, Dr. Itel, Mr. Patrick Lodge, and Mr. Daniel Ari Widyatama. Last but not least, other invited guests and our beloved participants, 600 teachers from Southeast Asia countries who are joining this forum via Zoom, or other viewers and participants who are streaming this opening ceremony from the YouTube channel. It's a great honor to have you all here in the opening ceremony of the online training on teachers' competence improvement and the webinar on improving teachers' foreign language competence in the digital era. Thank you very much for your time and your presence today to support Simeo Kitabin Language to carry out one of its programs to promote the quality improvement of language teachers in Southeast Asia region. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me inform you the overview of the online training on teachers' competence improvement program. Simeo Kitabin Language always strives to carry out various programs to promote the quality improvement of language teachers and education personnel in the Southeast Asia region. One of the programs is a training on professional competency for foreign language teachers, which was first started in 2020. Last year, SIKIL successfully served 600 language teachers to improve their competence in English, German, and French. Having a very positive response, this year, SIKIL also grants opportunity to 600 teachers across Southeast Asia countries. Not only English, German, and French, teachers also have options to improve their competency in Spanish and Portuguese. Honorable guests and participants, this online training has attracted 1,273 applicants from across Southeast Asia countries. However, the total number of selected participants are only 600 teachers from 8 countries: Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Laos PDR, Myanmar, Thailand, the Philippines, and Vietnam. Unfortunately, there were no applicants from Brunei Darussalam, Singapore, and Timor-Leste. The numbers of participants from Cambodia are 6 teachers, from Indonesia, 367 teachers, Laos PDR, 2 teachers, Malaysia, 90 teachers, Myanmar, 1 teacher, Thailand, 18 teachers, the Philippines, 93 teachers, and Vietnam, 23 teachers. From the language choice, there are 519 teachers who are eager to improve their proficiency in English. 50 teachers are interested to improve their competency in German. 29 teachers choose to elevate their language proficiency in French, and 2 teachers wish to improve their proficiency in Spanish. However, there were no teachers registered for Portuguese class. All participants will join this online course for a 3-month period from the 5th of April until 5th of July 2021. Respective guests and participants, in conjunction with this opening ceremony and this online training, in a very good moment, we also conduct a webinar on improving teachers' foreign language competence in the digital era. 3 great keynote speakers are willing spending their time with us today. Please let us thank Dr. Ito Agnes P. Valenzuela, who will broaden our perspective on Simeo's strategic roles to address Education Challenges in the Digital Era. Mr. Patrick Lodge, who will share with us about improving language competence using digital platform, and Mr. Daniel Ari Widyatama, who will enrich our knowledge to enter the era of digital learning. We do hope that participants could learn and gain more knowledge from this webinar, as well as getting more familiar with education issues and technology in the digital era. Before ending my speech, please allow me to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ito, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, for her great and continuous support to Simeo Kitabin language. To Bapak Insinyur Hendarman, MSc PhD, the Acting Head of Cooperation and Public Relations Bureau, for his remarkable guidance to Simeo Kitabin language. To the Board of Directors of Simeo Center Indonesia, for their sincere and active collaboration with Sikil, and as well as to all language teachers across Southeast Asia countries to always support Simeo Kitabin language, conducting its quality program. Once again, thank you very much. Finally, we would like to kindly invite Dr. Ita Agnes P. Valenzuela, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, to deliver her welcoming remark, and to Bapak Insinyur Hendarman, MSc PhD, to give his opening remark and officially open this online training and webinar. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hopefully, we are always healthy in this pandemic time. Thank you very much. And Dr. Ita, please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Director Lu Anik Mayani. To the Honorable High Officials of the Ministry of Education Culture of Indonesia, our distinguished organizers of this important webinar, headed by Dr. Lu Anik Mayani, Director of Simeo Kitep in Language, esteemed speakers from all over the region, officials of Simeo Kitep in Language, staff, colleagues from Simeo centers, ladies and gentlemen, again, a very good morning to all of you. I am very honored to be joining you today and officially welcoming all of you in this special webinar of Simeo Kitep in Language on Language Educators' 21st Century Competencies, and of course, brought by the pandemic in our new digital century. This webinar gathers the experts in language policies, language educators from the region and even beyond, and real practitioners. As a language educator myself, I am confident that all of our participants who are joining us will be enlightened with the existing new factors, new tools on language education in the new normal in the digital age. A lot of changes happened so fast during the pandemic. The new normal provided a swift change from traditional way of teaching to the new normal way of teaching using online, virtual, hybrid, and different flexible learning modalities. Never before that we imagined, right? I used to teach grammar by singing or using dances, teaching tenses with old songs, drama, plays, and choral rendition. That's the normal way of teaching for me in my early career as a language teacher. They were the very happy years for me. But today, practically all language educators are struggling on how to teach the language in this new normal when you have to use Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, and a lot of digital tools. They are already existing now, and language educators must find them and must use them. The new tools can be utilized and can also contribute to the better education of our learners. So many learners have also developed their own stories using online or storytelling modalities. So many things can be used in this time of change. Well, Simeo has developed its strategic plan 2021 to 2030. And of course, embracing the 21st century skills is a big part of that, contributing to sustainable development goals. 21st century skills include communication and language education. So the pandemic has given us a lot of unprecedented challenges, but it has also brought us a lot of opportunities to utilize in our teaching. I am pleased to know that Semioki Tapping Language has gathered language educators, policymakers from different countries of Southeast Asia who will actually share their time, expertise on several important topics assigned to them. I am sure that you will enjoy this very important webinar and therefore strengthening our teaching and learning strategies and for policymakers improve the policies and programs that concern language education. One thing is sure for us to remember that we cannot go back to the old way of teaching. We should go to the new way of teaching, flexible, hybrid, and ready to utilize all alternative learning modalities and new tools. With a new no time constraint model, I'm very sure that we can all do our teaching in the right manner and in the right way that are more applicable and useful for the 21st century learners. So we cannot really go back to normal. So from Simeo headquarters in Bangkok, Thailand, allow me to share my heartiest gratitude to all of you for attending this webinar organized by Simeo Kitap in Language and for heeding the call of our Simeo Council of Ministers to really work on the new normal together. Partnership, collaboration, and utilizing available technology that is with us. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best in this webinar. Congratulations, Simeo Kitap in Language. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Eto, for the beautiful welcoming remarks. Next, we are going to the highlight event. We would like to invite Mr. Hendarman, PhD, the Acting Head of Cooperation and Public Relations Bureau of the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic Indonesia, to deliver the opening remarks. Bapak Hendarman, the time is yours.
Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, Dr. Lo Anik Mariani, the Director for Simeo Kitab and Language Secure, distinguished guests, and about 600 participants from Simeo members. Magandang umaga, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, apology from our Secretary General to the Ministry of Education and Culture, Prof. Ainun Naim, who is not able to attend this very important Kitab in language. He conveys his greeting to the represent his Ministry of Education and Culture. In conjunction with the education development policy, we have the third priority agenda of plan 2020 to 2020 and competitive human resources. The policy direction and strategy includes, among others, developing teachers' competency and professionalism. Indeed, this webinar and the training follows the webinar is in line with the policy direction that education and His Excellency movement says an emancipation, the so-called Merdeka Belajar. This policy is to provide a high-quality education and learning output for all Indonesian society economic status. In and improve the education quality in Indonesia, but also to take an important part in improving the education quality in the Southeast Asia. Asia always is active participation to support the achievement of SIMIO mission. For example, to promote cooperation among its member and associate member countries through the regional centers project with their professional leadership role in training, research and development, information dissemination, and other relevant activities. This is to assist the member countries to develop expertise and excellence in education, science, and culture for the promotion of an enlightened and productive citizenry in their respective countries and for furthering the quality of life of all the peoples in the region. Honorable guests and participants, relating the Indonesian education policy to develop teachers' competency and provide professionalism, and the seventh priority area of SIMIO, this training, online training on teachers' competence improvement, conducted by SIMIO Kitab in language proof and conveys the roles of Indonesian government, especially the Ministry of Education and Culture, to achieve the fifth priority of SIMIO, which is revitalizing teacher education. This training, which has been held since 2020, have shown its success. Following its success from last year, this year SIKIL conducts a similar training with target participation from 600 language teachers in the Southeast Asia. They are teachers of English, German, French, and Spanish language. The training will be done using an online training platform for 3 months. The numbers is considered big. Why I should say big numbers? Because it's very rare if we conduct the program in the regular basis. You might have invited the resource person and the participant, which is very costly. But with the pandemic era, again, we have to thank the Corona and the COVID-19 because we are able to conduct the training with the big amount of participants. And also the digital era makes us different in the way we provide the training in different conducts or modes. Then I believe with the opportunities given to all the participants with such amount of 600 participants, really big for us, then we are able to make more opportunities to participant for the participant throughout the region. Through the program, I believe that this will develop high quality of language teacher among the member countries. As mentioned by Dr. Ethel, teaching in this pandemic era is quite different. And then it requires the initiative, the ideas, and also the innovative ways of our teachers. So we are not able to see again our students, our pupils in the class, And then we have to make a good communication with the parents in order to bridge the communication between the teachers and the students. As mentioned by our minister, Nadim Anwar Makarim, he gave the idea of koneksi batin, meaning that we have to have the in-depth connection in the heart of between the students and the parents, and also the teachers with the students. And then we have seen in the past that the parent always ask the teachers in the class, and we have give the mandate, all the mandate to the teachers in the class. But now with the pandemic, then the parents have to take the role, and then they have to be able also to communicate with their students in order to become a bridge between home and the schools. Finally, I will like to congratulate to the Simeo Kitab in Language, Sekil, for this very innovative program. And then I hope that not only for Sekil, but also the the 6 other centers, Simeo centers in Indonesia will also provide this kind of program to all the participants in the SMEO member countries. And I also like to again thanks to the distinguished resource person who will be presenting their ideas in this webinar, and then followed by the 3-month program, which will be held by 600 participants throughout the region. Again, thank you, and then let us make this webinar and training officially open. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for all of you.
Thank you, Bapak Hendarman, for opening this online training. The opening ceremony of the online training has now been completed. Now, we are going to the photo session. I will take 2 shoots. I will count 1 to 3. Before we start, please open your camera, look at the camera, and smile. Let's start the first photo. 1, 2, 3. The second photo. 1, 2, 3. Thank you once again to all invited guests, and especially to Bapak Hendarman, Ibu Ethel, and Ibu Luhani Mayani. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening virtual ceremony has been completed. We will now take a 3-minute break before we go to the next session. We invited all invited guests to take part in the webinar. The theme is Improving Teachers' Foreign Language Competence in the Digital Era. Siapa di dalamnya sekarang? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let us start this webinar. This webinar is being held in order to improve the competence of foreign language teachers in Southeast Asia. We are lucky today because we have 3 great speakers present with us to speak about this topic. Before our speakers deliver their presentation, I will read their CVs. Our first speaker is Daniel Ari Widyatama. He works as a lecturer at University of Mercu Buana in Yogyakarta. He completed his master degree from Sanata Dharma University, Yogyakarta. Currently, he holds several positions as head of the cooperation department at the university where he works, and also as director of program and development at ITEL, Indonesian Technology Enhance of Language Learning. He often conducts research, and he is also a research person in various teachers training in Indonesia. He is active in various professional organizations, and he is the co-founder of Eglisios Jogja and founder of Indonesian Vibes. Our second speaker is Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela. She is the director of the Siameo Secretariat, which serves as the executive arm of the Siameo Council of Ministers of Education from 11 member states that make up Siameo. She is the 18th director of Siameo Secretariat and the first woman director since its establishment in 1965. Prior to joining Siameo, Dr. Valenzuela also served in the Philippines as Commissioner of UNESCO National Commission from 2003 to 2010. She is an accomplished academic and writer. If you want to know the details, you can Googling it because it's too long if I have to read what she has done. Dr. Valenzuela also serves as professional lecturer at the University of the Philippines, Diliman College of Education. And the third speaker is Patrick Loach. He is an owner of many companies. He created his first company since 2000. His first company is POLG and founded Faxtenio 2 years later. Then the next companies are Faxtenio Asia in 2013, Faxtenio Macedonia in 2014, Altisia in 2014, and PT Indo Online Mitra Usaha in Indonesia in 2012. Moreover, he created application, namely Genelix in 2012, and in 2013, he created Expertise. The application greatly reduces the administrative burden of writing expert reports and features a complete and detailed state reports of rental locations. In 2015, he created Lowbox. Lowbox is a quick and intuitive way of obtaining contract templates you can trust. In 2016, he created Postcord, which is an innovative music sheet reader. In 2017, he created Niti, which is the easiest way to monetize the style seekers. Now, let's start the first presentation. We have Mr. Daniel Arya Widyatama from the University of Mercu Buana, Yogyakarta. The title is Optimizing the Use of Digital Technology to Improve Teachers' Language Competence. Mr. Daniel, time is yours.
Okay. To the Honorable High Officials of Ministry of Education, Culture of Indonesia, to our distinguished organizers of this webinar, to Dr. Luh Anik Mayani, the director of Siameo Kitab in Language, to Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela, the director of Siameo Secretariat, and then Mr. Patrick Logiv for as the founder of Altisia, and also Ibu Esra Nelvi as the deputy director of Siameo program Kitab in Language. Good morning. Thank you very much for the chance given to me that in this very occasion I could share some experiences in using some digital platform that I also used to teach and also to uh, join teachers professional development program. And I also would like to congratulate as many as around 600 teachers who are currently joining this training. So I'm hoping that this program later could benefit you with insights and also experience. And I have more or less 30 minutes to share my experience. So allow me to share my screen. Yeah, so I'm so excited to be to share my my experience this morning. Allow me first to introduce myself. My name is Daniel Widyatama. So I'm currently teaching at English Education Study Program at Mercubuana University Yogyakarta. So probably you've ever heard before. And I'm also active in ITEL, Indonesian Technology Enhanced Language Learning. So I chose this topic, optimizing the use of digital technology to improve teachers' language competence. So this is actually interesting for me because I'm also a teacher. So I know some strategies that I'm also using currently right now to develop my skills as a teacher. So I hope later we can share and exchange knowledge in order to develop our skills. All right. So what makes this event so challenging is that, as the committee told me before, I have to share some strategies in developing not only English as my language that I'm teaching to my students right now, but also Spanish, French, and also German language, which is quite challenging. But let's see what I can share later, and also correct me if maybe in my presentations you found some mismatch, or maybe you found more updated platform than the things that I share. I'm starting with this theory by Paul Nation, that in order to master a language, then we have to keep it balanced. So later in my sharing, I would like to use this framework, yeah, that whenever we are mastering a language, we have to take a look at the meaning focused input, which is I make it simple into receptive skills, yeah, that we need to get an input, to gain input, comprehensible input, yeah. In this case, is listening and reading. And for meaning focused output, so output means we have to produce something. So this will be related to speaking and writing. And then, of course, we have to strengthen our grammar mastery, yeah, our language focused learning, okay, that includes pronunciation practice, observation tasks, intensive reading, and so on. And the last one is fluency development. So Paul Nations here mentioned some strategies that we can use to develop our fluency skills, such as 42 technique. Maybe you have you are familiar with this, so you can try this later, yeah. And let's go on with some digital platform that we can use to support these all strategies. So let me start with the first strand. Yeah. So this is comprehensible, meaning focused input. So in this case, the word comprehensible means easy. So what I can suggest to you is that no matter what you are trying to read or to listen, make sure that you have to gain enough vocabulary. Yeah, make sure that you understand as many as 90% of the vocabulary or gambits that you found uh, on the text. Yeah, both it is for your listening activity or for your reading activity. And then in this case, I'm trying to propose several, let's say, platform or applications. Yeah. So uh, here I got, okay, lingua.com. Yeah. So let me share to you how it works. Okay. So actually, we can use this platform, yeah, to enrich our language skills. Yeah, we have Spanish, German, French, English. So let's say that I'm going to learn Spanish here. All right. So in this case, you can choose either it is reading or listening practice. Yeah, as we are focusing on meaning focused input. So you have this one. You can choose the level. Okay. I hope it is audible for you.
Lingua.com, comprensión lectora. Mi nueva casa. Yo vivo en Granada. Es una ciudad pequeña y tiene...
Okay, so once again, this platform is quite great that it is not only training you your reading skill, but also your listening as well. Okay, and for those who are learning other languages like English or German, you can also use this. All right, so and the other platform that you can use is eslab.com. Then you can even use audiobooks. So we have some choices here. You can later take a look at yourself because we don't have much time here to have a showcase. But I believe if you think that you want to edit a YouTube video into listening exercise, then you can use Edpuzzle. Okay, so you later can browse on Google what Edpuzzle is like. It is awesome because you can stop by at a certain point and you can give a question. Yeah, you can give a question and set a customizable question into a YouTube video. Okay, let's move to reading skill. Well, I propose some good websites that can develop your reading skill here, but let me just take a look at this. Okay. All right. So suppose that you are learning, okay, French, then you can use this great website that will give you so many short stories, right? So I started to notice that this website is very, like interactive. Yeah, you can use this to develop your skills, or later when you are teaching your students. Okay.
Petit Poulet, a version of the tale by thefrenchexperiment.com.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can also give me some maybe some comments on the chat box to tell me what you think about this website. Yeah. So the other great thing that this website presents is the translations it provides. All right. So I believe that for you who are focusing on that you are teaching French, this vocabulary are quite easy, yeah, because I'm not learning French, so I have no idea about this, but I'm sure this is a children's story. This could be great for you to train your language. Yeah. Okay. So, right. So for other things later, for the other websites, you can observe yourself. And vocabulary. So this is the other thing that we need to develop when we are learning language. Yeah. So probably you are familiar with these three platforms, but for those who are not, then I can tell you what it is like. All right. So this application provides gamifications, yeah, on language learning. So you can see there are so many language that we can choose. Yeah. Let's say I'd like to learn. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Right. So.
Gritar.
Right. So this is Spanish, yeah, I guess. So you have to guess what picture it is, okay, and you have to choose what the right word for this picture.
Capucha.
Okay, so I really have no idea about this language, but let me show you. Okay, what about English? What is this? Okay, this is food, I guess.
Pasta.
Okay, so pasta. So you can learn pronunciation altogether. Okay.
Shampoo.
And the other benefit of this website that it provides is the mode. Okay, so not only
floor,
not only multiple choices, but also you can choose the right object. So yeah, a bit similar to multiple choices, but it has more objects to choose. Okay, so that was babadum.com. Right. Okay, so Quizlet. Quizlet is one of my favorite. So let me share to you. Okay, so this adopts repetition. Okay, and probably you are familiar with this. Let me okay. For example, you are learning. You are going to learn some vocabulary from this novel, The Alchemist, for example. Okay. Nah, so somebody has ever provided a practice for you, then you just need to learn the questions, okay, and you gotta find the right vocabulary for that. Okay, so for example, now, so you can set these kind of questions. You can have practice for yourself, or even you can design your own study set like this. So so these are all uh, found in The Alchemist novel, yeah, by Paulo Coelho. All right. So this is the. It also could.
Santiago is sleeping on the ground because he is a shepherd and he cannot carry a lot of stuff. So
Okay. Okay. So this is Quizlet, right? You can observe and explore Quizlet by yourself later. And this is another application that is fantastic, learning apps. Okay, so among these three, I would rather use yeah, Quizlet or learning apps in my daily teaching practice, because even for my students are a bit too easy for them. So yeah, and then form focused instruction. Yeah. So you can have a look at these all websites. Yeah. In my case, I'm trying to show you this. Nah. So anyway, you can change German into other languages. Learn English, learn Spanish, learn French. Yeah. But in this example, I'm choosing German. So you can even join the placement test or the level that you think should you best. Yeah. Okay. And right, you'll find this interface later, this kind of practice. Okay, because I'm choosing greetings, then I will learn some expressions. Okay, yeah.
Hallo Sarah, wie geht's dir?
Hi Tom, super, danke. Und dir?
Hallo.
Okay.
Wie geht's dir?
Right. So you have to choose the expression mentioned by the actor here, and at the same time you are learning how to pronounce words and stuff. So this website is perfect for you to develop your listening skill and reading skill as well. And of course, you also learn a little about grammar, yeah, for sure. And then what about meaning focused output? So we are focusing on productive skills, and in this case is speaking skill. Well, in this case, you can use Orai or Elsa Speak. And by the way, I can give you some strategies that you can use with this platform. Yeah, for example, Elsa Speak. So this is a great platform that can work in both iOS or Android. That it can give you feedback on the way you speak, on the way you pronounce words, and even can uh, assess your accuracy. So this is perfect. Okay, and Orai is almost the same platform like Elsa Speak, but it can give you suggestions through the words that you spell. I believe that not only in English, yeah, but if you are searching for a platform like this in for German language or French or Spanish, then I'm sure that you can find it. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm trying to guide you into contextual language learning. learning language into uh, suggestion presented by Polynesian may not be enough, in the sense that you should know how to use them in a particular situation. That's why I'm trying to propose some other skills, some other platform that we can use for free. Yeah. And why are these platforms? Because this platform will give you a different type of interactions that you will interact with robot. Okay, not only with robot, but also with real human beings, such as in Tandem, tandem.com. Okay. Oh, sorry. Wait a second. Right. So I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast because time is running. But through this example, so I just registered to Tandem a few days ago. I'm trying to find any platform that can teach me how I can speak with other people out of Indonesia with the same purpose. And in this case, I chose Spanish. So I met some people from different countries that are learning the same language, something like this. So whenever you are already learning the four strands, yeah, you have to activate them and meet um, other people having the same purpose. And this is awesome. I never got an experience like this before. Yeah, so you gotta try this. Okay, meeting new people is always great. Yeah, so you can. They are willingly to help you. Yeah. Let me. Okay. So you can even, if you think that you are not good yet in your target language, then you can just say to them and tell them that you are also still learning. Yeah. And they are willing to help you for sure. Okay, this is Tandem. And okay, let's talk about artificial intelligence. So this is the thing that I love the most from AI. Okay. Oops. So sorry, I need to log in for a while. Yeah, waiting for me to log in, and you can share your thoughts probably. Okay, it's ready. Okay, I have, how much time do I have, Ibu Esra? How much time left?
10 minutes more.
10 minutes, great. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I love from AI, artificial intelligence, that whenever you don't have somebody to talk to, then you can rely on this. Yeah. So, for example, wait a second. Good morning. How was your day? Yeah, I slept. See, so the response, have a look at this. So this is the smartest AI or chatbot I've ever found. Yeah, I make this avatar for myself. So Grace, actually my wife's name. Okay, and why I name it so, because I just want to talk to my to my wife as if I'm talking to her. Yeah? So are you going to sleep in today? So I guess what is your plan? So yeah, the response is very what do you call that, relatable with your questions. Yeah, I mean, uh, it can connect to any questions that uh, that you that you give. Yeah. Right. So this is another idea, yeah, to on how to develop your writing skill. Yeah. For tandem, the one I just presented before, you can practice your speaking skill. Yeah. Okay. So whenever you already uh, know how to use this, then it means you know how to use language contextually. You have to develop a particular theme. Yeah. So your skills, your language skills, are not, you know, like separated one each other, but uh, it goes under particular theme or situation or context. Okay, so right, what else came? Now, in any language that you are learning, there must be a platform like this, yeah. But don't worry if you think that, for example, uh, you are learning Spanish. Is there any other platform like Replica that I can use? Well, you just need to browse, yeah. Use Google, yeah. For example, this one. Nah, this is a chatbot, yeah, to learn Spanish. Yeah. For example, see, so I I can't speak Spanish, then I don't know how to respond to this. But if you think that you want to improve your writing skill, then please go to this website. Okay. All right. So we almost come to an end, I guess. Youglish. So this is another platform that I think is very awesome. You know that when we are learning particular expression, then we should know in what context it match. Yeah. For example, I'm going to test. I'm going to know how native speaker use idiom. Yeah. For example, break a leg. So I'm choosing English here. So anyway, an idiom means that that expression is not or will not literally have the same meaning as it is written. So uh, then it is not an idiom, because break a leg in this case is, yeah, literally to break their legs. But as I know, break a leg has something other, another meaning, like good luck. So I can I'm going to search another video which has different meaning.
I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you so much. Break a leg, and I will see you guys next time.
Okay, so in this case, the word break a leg
I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
means good luck. Then you can later also tell your students about this platform, so that they can learn how language or phrases could have different meaning. Okay, and by the way, this is the aha moment, that you can choose different languages. Isn't it awesome? Okay, So that was Euclid. And the last thing that I would like to share to you is separator. So you know that whenever we are all learning any languages, then we need a good partner. Yeah, we need feedback. Hence, this platform is uh, beneficial for us as language learner. Yeah. Okay, so you might be wondering what this application can do for us. Yeah, as its name suggests, paper rater. So it rates our paper. And how does it work? Okay, so right. So first of all, you have to paste, yeah, your own writing, yeah, into this platform. Okay, and you choose which level you are into. Okay, and then tell them what it is, and tell them also if it is a plagiarism detection there. Okay, all right. So you gotta wait for a moment, and yeah, your submission is being processed. Right. So in less than 1 minute, then you can check. Yeah. So these are the feedback provided by the this application. Let's see the spelling. Okay. All right. So there are some suggestion here. Yeah. Learned could be learns, and so on. Okay. And what about grammar? All right. So you can check again. You can do a double check. Yeah. In which word that needs to be revised. Okay. And robot cannot read context, of course. So you are the real controller. Okay, the style. Now, all right. So this can give us feedback. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, good job. Your usage of transitional phrases is above average. Okay, so they can find any transition words, yeah, transitional words that we use. And they also suggest us to use different, you know, conjunctions. Yeah. Okay, and then, right. So we can use advanced checks, and yeah, I'm not trying to say that these are already available for English uh, learners. No, but if you try to search, yeah, on Google, yeah, or uh, I believe that later you can find a platform to learn different languages like German or French, Spanish. So once again, what I'm trying to share to you today is, yeah, you have to be wise in making use of technology. Yeah, these digital platforms are just around. We just need to work harder to find them. We don't have to make one. Yeah. So as teachers, of course, in order to give our best service to our students, we have to develop ourselves first. We have to make sure that all the things that we give, all the things that we share to societies are the one that has been, you know, that are always improved and assessed. Yeah. So there is no reason that you have nobody to help you to learn. But in this pandemic time, uh, they are just around. Okay. So hopefully that this sharing could help you develop your skills, and I believe that we can meet up next time. You can reach me through this email, or let's just be friends on Instagram. I'm happy to share later. So thank you, Samuel Kitab Learning and Samuel for the chance. Give the time back to Ibu Esra. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for addressing this interesting topic. Bapak Daniel emphasized that it is necessary to optimize the use of technology to create contextual learning. Teachers must combine the use of technology and the right pedagogy to create meaningful learning. Okay, if you have any question, please write your question in Q&A box. Please mention your name, type your question concisely and clearly, and don't forget to mention to whom your question is addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, next we have Patrick Loach. Yeah, Patrick Loach will talk about improving language competence using digital platform. Mr. Patrick, time is yours.
Hello, Ibu. Thank you for your introduction. Thank you for all to join this events. So my name is Patrick. I'm the person in charge of Alticia development in Southeast Asia. And I would like to make a very short presentation today regarding the way we manipulate all the tools that we just saw a few minutes ago. So let me share my screen first. I will share the desktop here. Okay, I don't know if you see my screen. So what we want to share with you from Alticia is what we call the masterclass. It's been a couple of years ago that we noticed that all these different technology, this different technology that we saw a few minutes ago, needs methodology. The problem we have, or the problem people have with this technology, is that there is simply too much of this technology, and there's a lack of methodology. How do you teach with all this system, and how do you organize a balanced class and a balanced teaching with all this technology? So what you can do to have the all information regarding this methodology is to go to the Alticia website. And if you go to the resource here, you see our resource, my resource, you will see a number of video that are completely free. You can just subscribe and you can download them on the website. And these master class are actually talking about blended learning and how to balance the technology with the human interaction with the students. This is extremely important because if you overwhelm your students with many technology, like we saw a few minutes ago, they will feel lost and they need to be guided in their learning path. So it's very important to make sure that you are on the same page with your students and that you are guiding them in their learning path and make sure they learn and not spend time in technology problem. So what I would like to do today is maybe to go through common problem and common question we have with our customers, with the current project. And these question and these concerns we have from the teachers are how to organize this technology, how to organize a quality teaching with all this technology, and how to have a balanced technology and a good balance between technology and teaching and human interaction. So what I did here, I compile all different questions. This is the kind of video that you can have on the website. So if I take one here, for example, you can see chapter 1, episode 1. What's the difference between e-learning and blended learning? What is it a good idea to integrate online component, etc., etc. So you can have everything I will say now. You can find it on our website. You just connect to Alticia. You go to our resource, and you can download all these video. So this is a new program we started 2 years ago because we noticed that teachers had so many questions about how do I do to teach in front of a screen? How do I do to keep my students motivated? How do I do to make sure to follow the progress. All these questions are new questions, and they were raised because of the COVID situation, because of the pandemic. Everything went bolder with this situation. So a few years ago, the e-learning market started growing, but it grew in a normal situation. So teacher kept teaching with their students. They were still in class. They were in front of the students, and what they tried to do is to integrate progressively technology in the class. Now, with the pandemic, what we lived is all the teachers were forced, and all institutions they were forced within 24 hours or in a matter of week to start teaching online. So they were completely lost, and they were a little bit confused about how to adapt their teaching method, and they were not prepared. So this is why we started this masterclass, is to accompany all our teachers. As you know, Alticia, today we have more than 6 million students in the platform. We have thousands of teachers using Alticia to teach languages to the students. And these teachers, they ask us so many questions that we decided to start a program dedicated to the teachers. Okay. So the blended learning class is what we call teachers by teachers for teachers. So it was the blended learning masterclass were designed by our pedagogic department in collaboration with all the teachers that we are working with among many projects that we have around the world. So the kind of question that we have is how to integrate digital technology in my language training. So we try to give them insights and some tips and tricks on how to do and to have a balanced teaching experience. The kind of question is, what's the difference between e-learning and blended learning, for example? So you know that e-learning, this is what we saw with Pa Daniel. Actually, Pa Daniel show you a lot of e-learning resources. But with all these resources, basically the students, they are alone in front of the screen. So the difference between e-learning and blended learning is that you create a balance between all this technology and a human accompaniment. So it means that you stay in contact with your students, and you tell them what to do, and you tell them what to study, and you tell them what tools they have to use, and you give them assignments. Okay. So there is a balance to find here, because if you give too much technology, you will lose your students. They will be lost in technology. It's very tiring to stay in front of a screen and interacting with the screen. So if you give them too much technology, you will miss your target. On the other side, if you do too much regular teaching, you are losing the power of e-learning, because you spend too much time explaining the same things to your students. Okay. So that's the main difference between e-learning and blended learning. It's about finding the right balance between technology and regular teaching. So why is it a good idea to integrate a component like this in language teaching? Because you basically can use online resources to give assignment to your students and make sure they have the basics. So it means that you can spend more time with your students in conversation, for example. You can spend more time with your students to follow up and give them assignment and make sure that they are still on track, they're still following the course. So integrate online component is a good idea to optimize the time of the teachers. Okay. So that's the basic questions. If you want to have more information about this question, do not hesitate to go to Alticia website. And in the resources, you will have much more details about what I'm saying now. So the next question about integration technology in training is, okay, what's the good balance between online and face-to-face learning? This is a very important question. So we used to say that if you use more than 70% technology, you are doing e-learning, so you don't do blended learning. So it means that you give tools and you send link to your students, but you don't really teach them. If you spend less than 30% of your time using these tools, it means you apply a regular teaching method. So you're doing a one-to-one teaching class. So the right balance between is between 30 and 70%. So you have to have a right mix between the time you spend with your students to make sure they understand, to make sure they know what are the assignments, to make sure they fulfill their assignments, to make sure they understand about the tools that you send to them, etc. etc. So all the thing that the teachers does with his with the students, okay, that's the human part. And the other percentage is about the tools themselves, but you have to find the right balance. So the way a blended course must be articulated depends on your audience. It depends on the level of your students. It depends on your targets. There's no clear answer to this. So it really depends on the target you want to achieve. So usually what you have to make sure is that the students don't spend too much time alone in front of the screen. If they spend too much time alone in front of the screen, they will be tired very quickly, and they maybe get bored very quickly. Even if it's a very fancy tools using artificial intelligence and a lot of interaction and YouTube and whatever, if you leave them alone in front of a screen, you will basically lose your students. So that's why this balance between technology and human interaction is extremely important. And this is how we design actually Alticia program. And this is how we design the material inside Alticia, is to make sure that the door is still open for interaction between the teachers and the students, but also make sure that the material is enough for the students to learn by himself. Okay. But it's neither one or the other. So Alticia, it's not just an application. It's not just a tool, and it's not only a methodology. It's a combination of those two things, and that's what makes the power of Alticia. It's because we have the experience regarding the balance, about the good balance between mixing technology and human interaction. Okay, chapter one, we're still focusing on the integration of technology in the training. And some other question is, will technology replace the trainers? Or this is funny because this is a question I have a lot in Indonesia. Many teachers are afraid about technology because they think that technology will replace them. And this is something, this is really wrong, because the technology will never replace a human interaction with the teacher, with the students, the interaction between the students and the teacher. It is extremely important to understand for the teachers that what they do is the key of everything. It's like a triangle. You have the teachers, the students, and the technology. These three elements needs to work in perfect collaboration, and it needs to work in a perfect balance. Otherwise, the teaching doesn't work. So you have to find the right balance between these three elements. So I repeat, the three elements are the teachers, the students, and the e-learning systems. Okay. An effective teaching doesn't work with if you have too much of one. If one is missing or something like that, it doesn't work. We used to say in Alticia that e-learning alone, it simply doesn't work. If you send students, if you send them a book at home, if you put them alone in front of a screen, they will never get it. They will never achieve an effective learning path. So they need to be supported. They need to be accompanied, and this is the job of the teacher. So the answer of this question, never. The technology will never, never, never replace real teachers. So the task of the trainer. So this is the other kind of question we have a lot from the teachers. What am I supposed to do with all this system, with all this technology? Basically, the answer to this question is, again, it's about finding the right balance and try to get the most of these tools. So I take an example about grammar. You want your students to learn about grammar. You have many resources, like Daniel showed before. You have many resources online and in Alticia for the students to learn about grammar. What you could do, for example, is to give assignment to your students and say to them, okay, next week I would like you to study the present or the past or something like that. And next week we will talk about it. So you let your students prepare themselves. So the next time they join the class, they are ready, and you can assess them, and you can have a conversation with them. Did you understand everything about the material? Do you have a question? How can I help you? And you can spend more time with the beginners and give other assignment to the advanced students. So it means that among your audience, you don't lose anyone, because you have the chance to give advantages. But at the end, what you do is you use your time the best way you can, because you spend time with the students. You take care of their learning path, and you inquire about their progress, not just explain things. Explaining things. This is something a computer can do. You start a video, they can download the document with the grammar or everything. You make sure they do it, and then the week after you talk to them, you have a conversation, you make sure they understand. So it means that you're really supporting your students in their learning, and not just spend time explaining things. So in this second chapter, it's about motivation. So first we saw about the technological integration. So what do we do with the technology? Now the question is, using all these systems and all this new technology, how do I keep my students motivated? So is teaching a virtual class any different from teaching a physical class? The answer is yes, of course. For a very specific reason. It's because of the attention. The attention, the amount of attention we have in front of the screen is much lower than the attention you can have from your students inside a class. So it basically means that you have to find the right way to keep them interacting with you by asking questions, by make sure the course is a little bit fun, maybe by doing some jokes, by starting the course with some games, or doing something interactive with the students. So that's very important, because you have to know that the students that join your class, your online class, will be less attentive, less, how can I say, yeah, they will be less focused in front of the screen. Okay. So we give in the different video you have on the website, we give some tips and tricks on how to make an effective teaching. We give you, for example, some tricks like using a headset. Don't use the microphone of your laptop, because usually they are not good. The way you have to sit, the way you have to look at the camera. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that are very useful to make the class more interactive. I will give you one example. If I put my camera on, if you look at me now I'm looking at my screen and I explain something. So you basically see my eyes is not looking at you. The eyes is looking at the screen. And sometimes maybe I'm distracted. I turn my head like this. Now what I will do is I will look at the camera. So I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you. So the thing we try to do with teachers is to explain them time to time, make sure that you are looking to the objective of the camera. So the students, they feel like they talk to you and not just like this with the camera. So it's about having a eye contact with the students. It's very important. Another thing is what's difficult for online learning is about when I say about focus and attention, you have to know that most of your students, they will have their mobile phone next to them. They will have maybe Facebook open on the screen. So there will be a lot of things that can distract them from the online learning. So it's also a good idea to ask your students to close, maybe to close their phone, to make sure they don't have Facebook open. It's a matter of trust. You have to trust them, but at least it's a good idea in the class to mention about, okay guys, now we are in the class, so could you please switch off Facebook, please switch off WhatsApp and everything, stay with me. And this is when you have to look at the camera and say, guys, be with me for 30, 40, 50 minutes, and after that you can open Facebook again. But there is so many occasion for the students to be distracted that it's a good idea to make sure that you put in place a certain number of small rules, like do not open Facebook, do not open WhatsApp, or things like that. So you have to take into account all these technical challenge, because technology does not solve everything. It brings more problems actually when you teach about attention, focus, and stuff like that. So another question about motivation is about the length of the class. How long should an online class last? Okay. We used to say that above 90 minutes, it's very difficult to keep your students focused. 90, it's already very, very long. So what we used to say is to try to organize your online teaching in smaller sessions. If you want to teach 90 minutes, maybe you could do 2, 3 times sessions, 20 minutes or 30 minutes by two or something like that. So you have to give your students some moments so they can stand up, they can go walk around, and you tell them, okay, let's meet again in 10 minutes. We make a pause or something like that. They make a coffee, a tea, but you cannot keep the attention and the motivation of your students for more than 40, 50 minutes in a row. It's almost impossible. It's already difficult in a class. It's even more difficult in front of a screen. So the teachers should be very careful about that. What else do we have here? We're still in the motivation aspects. So that's very important also, is to create a group atmosphere. So there's one thing you need to know, especially in Indonesia, in Asian country. There is one technical thing that makes the teaching more difficult. You have to be aware that your students, they see themselves, if they switch on the camera, they see themselves on the screen. It's sometimes disturbing for them to see them because they are shy, and if you ask them to talk, they will see themselves talk on the screen. So that's something you have to be aware of. If you ask someone to talk and to ask question, it may be a little bit more difficult for them to talk because actually they see themselves like in a mirror. It's like talking in front of a mirror because you see yourself, like in Zoom, for example. I see Daniel, for example, so it means that Daniel he sees himself in the screen, is not moving. Maybe he will smile, I don't know. Yeah. Yes, he's smiling. So if I ask Daniel, okay, Daniel, do you have a question? He will see himself in the screen. And for some students, it will be a bit intimidating. Okay. So to ensure a good group management in virtual class, you also need to make sure they interact with each other. So you can, at the beginning of the class, you can organize some game, or you can have a little chit chat about the situation, about, okay, how's going with COVID with you? Are you in Bandung? Is it PSBB? Question like this, you know. So you create an atmosphere within the group. Now, in terms of developing a training system, so are each blended learning course the same? No, because it depends on this famous balance between technology and human interaction. It also depends on what you teach, of course. And it depends on your audience, depends on the way you teach. So there's no specific guidelines to have a perfect balanced blended course. This is something you have to build with experience. What we try to do in this masterclass is to give some tips and tricks. There are a couple of things to do and things not to do in online teaching. Yes, does blended learning really provide the best of both worlds? Yes, if you can find this balance, it's even more effective than training in the class. You know, the main objective of blended learning is to make sure that you have all your class following the teaching. So what we used to have before all this technology and before all this e-learning system, when a teacher entered the class, and if the teacher had, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 students in front of him, basically when the teacher starts teaching, he has to take a decision. To whom am I teaching? What is the level I will, and what is the pace I will follow for this class? And based on this decision, he will lose some part of his class. Let's say it decided to take the average level of the class. The beginners, they will struggle, and the advanced students will get bored. So the advantage of blended learning is to solve this problem, is to make sure that in the class, you basically have 100% of your students following what you are teaching. Again, why? Because for the beginners, you can give them assignments, for average students also, and you can spend time with the different group, because for the basic teaching, for the basic learning, you can rely on e-learning technology. So you can ask the students to do a certain amount of things. And during this time, you can take care of the others. So it means that as a teacher, it's a very valuable experience, because you really spend your time teaching. You really spend your time taking care of your students, making sure they follow, making sure they are not lost in your training. Okay, this is what e-learning brought in the picture. Before e-learning, basically every teacher in the world, they had to take a decision in front of their class. To whom am I teaching? And knowing that they will probably lose some part of the school. You know, those students who are behind, a bit sleepy, or or those who are very in front, very eager to learn, but the pace is too slow. So basically, these students we were lost during decades and during centuries. Now we have the opportunity to take care of these students and make sure that the sleepy students in the back of the class can come back in the learning process and be interested again about the training and the teaching. So that's a common question I have in Indonesia also. Is many teachers came to me like saying, "Oh yeah, but I will have more work because I have all this technology now that I didn't have before. So on top of what I used to do, I will have to take care of this technology and these assignments." So the answer to this question is basically uh, the teachers need to find a new balance between what they do with the students and what they do with e-learning. The e-learning tools and all the technology is an opportunity for the teacher to spend time in more other activities. So basically, instead of going to the board and explaining about the grammar, this is something that e-learning could do. So the teacher can spend more time with the students by asking questions, spend more time in conversation and things like this. So the workload should be lower actually if the e-learning is well integrated in the teaching process. Okay, if the workload is higher than before, it means that there is something wrong in the balance between the technology and the way the teacher teach. Okay, so it's about mastering all these tools also. So what we do at Alticia also is to train the teachers to how to use this technology, because what we notice is the teachers that are overwhelmed, usually it's because they don't feel comfortable with technology, so they lose a lot of time to try to know how to manipulate the system, the different tools we saw with Daniel. This is something very complicated for many people, including teachers. So what we have to make sure is that technology is not a barrier of the teaching. We have to make sure that the teacher are comfortable with technology, maybe by using a bit less technology, and just keep the basic and keep only what they need to teach. But the technology cannot be a burden. It cannot be a break to the training. If it's the case, there is a problem. So there is something we need to teach to the trainer. And that's the same answer basically. It's about the balance and make sure that the balance between pedagogical aspects and quality and preparation time is good. And so it's about mastering technology, it's about explaining technology, and make sure that either the teachers and the students use this technology wisely, because too much technology kills technology. So if you give too much system, and if you give too much link and website and YouTube and everything to your students, basically you will lose them, because it's too much. They cannot make they cannot sort it. They cannot put an order. So they will need you as a teacher to make sure they do one thing after another, and not surfing and going a bit everywhere, because they will not retain, they will not keep their knowledge. Okay. So that was a very brief introduction about the masterclass. I really invite you to go to Alticia, and all the material I just talked about is completely free. You just have to subscribe to Alticia, and you can download this different material. It's given by our pedagogical, the head of pedagogic department of Alticia. She's explaining this to you by using video. My line is a little bit slow now, but you can keep it. You can see it by yourself. Wait. Okay. So I would like to thank you again for your time. I encourage you to go to the stop this. To go to Alticia website. We give this for free. This is specifically designed for teachers. And the more you know about this, the better it will go with e-learning process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for your interesting presentation. Mr. Patrick emphasized that methodology and blended learning principles are essential for a successful teaching process. Please, if you have any question, please write your question in the Q&A box. Please mention your name, type your question concisely and clearly, and don't forget to mention to whom your question is addressed. And next, our last speaker is Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, the Director of CMU Secretariat. Dr. Ethel will talk about CMU strategic roles to address education challenges in the digital era. Dr. Ethel, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, CMU Kitep in Language, for this opportunity to share the strategic roles to address education challenges in the digital era. I am very pleased to share our roadmap in this very important time of the pandemic. May I share our slide, please? Okay, you can see my slide, right? So let me start by sharing the CMU strategic plan. The current educational situation showed that reaching the vulnerable learners and improving the quality of education is an urgent need for everyone, and indeed a CMU priority. Part of this goal is to ensure that the decade new plan of CMU 2021 to 2030 will provide greater avenues to support relevant, good quality education for children all over Southeast Asia, including those in the remote, disadvantaged communities. SSP 2021 to 2030 is a roadmap for this next decade. And we must have language education at the core of our intervention because our region has rich linguistic diversity and the characteristics of Southeast Asian countries. It's really diverse, and we should not neglect that regional languages will promote better understanding and regional cooperation, which is the very heart of CIMEO's mission, vision, and goals. At the heart of the CIMEO education agenda, we have already adopted this in 2015. The 7 Education Agenda talks about early childhood education, inclusive education, education in emergencies. Like now, we are in emergency situation, promoting TVET, revitalizing teacher education, harmonizing higher education so we can promote mobility and adopting 21st century skills. Since 2015, we're working on 21st century competencies and 21st century skills. And most countries in the region have already revised the curriculum to integrate these 21st century skills, like being able to communicate, to interact, to live together, education for sustainable development, higher education thinking skills, developing critical thinking skills, working with others, and facilitating learning. So different Southeast Asian countries have already started their programs and activities to reach the 7 Education Agenda. The 7 Education Agenda is also linked with the Sustainable Development Goals of UNESCO or UN. And when we talk of this SDG goal number 4, we need to really work on equitable, accessible, quality education and lifelong opportunities for all, which includes, capacity building for teachers and also enhancing the reach of education intervention to the disadvantaged and marginalized children. And the role of language education is crucial. Without it, I think we cannot meet the Sustainable Development Goals. An effective language education policy can offer practical regional responses that can help improve educational quality. And I remember that during the discussions of the ministers, we talk about introducing a regional language. What could be the regional language in Southeast Asia that we can all put in the curriculum? There was a huge discussion of that in the 2019 CIMEO Council meeting. Anyway, after the CIMEO Council meeting in 2019, we have this pandemic in 2020. So the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted everything. It puts everybody in lockdown, and then we have all of these educational landscape changing from traditional face-to-face to now blended, virtual, hybrid, home-based schooling. 190 countries were on lockdown. 1.5 billion learners were affected, and up to now, there is still learning loss and learning poverty and learning gaps that we are addressing. And millions of teachers are struggling across the globe, not just in Southeast Asia, to learn about this remote teaching and learning, this digital learning. So COVID-19 actually has a biggest impact on the digitalization of education. So COVID-19 impacts more families, especially those in impoverished or those who are really just surviving. Many schools are still in lockdown in our country, and some have the longest lockdown ever. And as you may know, budgets of education ministries may have significantly reduced to put a priority on vaccination and hospitals, caregivers, and surviving this COVID pandemic. So there is an increasing learning loss, learning gap, and learning poverty taking place even in our region. So let me share that as early as June of last year, we have invited our ministers for a policy dialogue. And in discussion, each of the ministers have shared their own responses. 100% of them have moved from traditional to face-to-face and moving towards hybrid learning, blended learning, and flexible learning, all of the countries in Southeast Asia. So what are the key takeaways from their discussions? So actually, we listening to the ministers, we learned that we need to prepare the learners for this disruption, that they could not just stop learning. They should continue. And ministries of education have to develop flexible platforms, diverse platforms to suit the different needs of learners. And what about the teachers? All teachers should be developed and given intervention, especially the early childhood care and education workforce, who is really sort of struggling to offer ECCD at this time of pandemic. We should also reach out to the disadvantaged teachers and learners who do not have access to digital platforms, and develop 21st century skills, helping each other, improving educational infrastructure. Some ministers have allocated budget for, loaning digital devices, but others cannot do that. They simply have to work on what is the available solution at the moment. Then we need to strengthen collaboration. So between and among our countries, we need to strengthen partnership, share our resources in this time of pandemic for the desired learning outcomes. So those are the key takeaways from the discussions. And the meeting ended with the joint ministerial declaration that talks about the key things that we should do. First is to enhance the capacities of teachers and, of course, education personnel, education enablers in our region, because they need to be updated on technology-mediated instructions and alternative learning modality in this time of pandemic. Second is to foster a learning environment that is quick to respond to any disruption from early childhood to higher education that will suit the best in the country's current situation. Because we are having, top performing countries and struggling countries in terms of COVID. Some are still in the, not even flatten the curve. Third, sustaining the development and advancement of resources such as open educational resources, resources that can be freely used by others or co-developed and improved by others that will best respond to the Southeast Asian learners. After that, we talk about having a solid response for COVID, which is known as Simeo Cares. And Simeo Cares will actually, the COVID-19 accessible and responsive education will actually put more input on the online classroom teaching and learning strategies, as well as technology for teaching and learning. So we wanted to have accessibility of resources in this new mode of learning or new normal. Next, so we started already the Simeo Cares, but we still have to launch it in Simeo Congress. So please watch out for that discussion on Simeo Cares and the interventions that were developed along the line. Next to that is learning about open education. So our resource speakers today, our very, very good speakers, Dr. Daniel and Dr. Patrick, they have shown to us how good it is to learn about the new tools in these new ways of language education. These are examples of open education that we can benefit from, that these digital tools can be used anywhere, anytime, and in any place. It's not just in the four corners of the classroom that you can learn. You can also learn through your iPad, through your mobile phone, or through any means, as long as the tools are appropriately utilized. So there are many things that we can make use in terms of open education and flexible learning opportunities. So next, I'd like to talk about the online programs, and this is our response at CIMES, is to actually consolidate all open online learning courses that are available. We have partnered with UNESCO, with Weidong Cloud Education Group. We have partnered with other providers of open education in Southeast Asia, which we call as the MOOCs, the CMOOCs. And we have developed global digital literacy so that teachers can learn how to, thrive in this new normal by learning on their own faces the video lectures for global digital literacy. Another one that we have developed is consolidating all online resources from CMEO centers and partners. You can look at them in our website. From K to 12, higher education and TVET, CMEO centers and partners have worked collaboratively so that everybody can learn at their own pace anytime and anywhere. These are all for free and you can make use of them or learn while you are in your own home in lockdown or while you are still doing home-based teaching and learning. Another one is the lecture series. So since we cannot do academic mobility at this time of closure and isolation, because almost all countries are still not open to mobility right now, it's only on very essential travels that you can go out. So our learners and teachers are confined in their own countries. We have developed the C-Teacher and C-TVET lecture series, which will actually facilitate sharing of information, sharing of strategy like what you're doing right now, and also promoting better digital learning. And these are actually coming from lecturers from all over Southeast Asia and some even beyond. We invited also experts from our partner institutions who would like to share the teaching strategies for the new normal. Another way to address this problem is, sharing of electronic materials. But the challenge is not all students can have better access. Still, the challenge is the availability of electronic devices for almost 48% of learners in Southeast Asia. That's a huge number to deal with. So there is also internet connectivity and accessibility issues, and also generation gap. Some teachers, a majority of them are already, not in this generation that, well, they can still learn all of these digital gadgets and tools. They go still to utilize the old ways of teaching. It's just lecturing. So I think these are the main challenges that CMEO would like to really address and help develop teachers' capacity. In our interventions, we were able to reach many teachers because our call to action is, as a family of CMEO, we should enhance the capacities of teachers and key education enablers on technology-mediated and alternative learning modalities. We should be able to facilitate teaching and learning in this new situation, whether home-based or some are already back in school, but the use of technology and digital tools are very much still in many Southeast Asian countries. So we need to reach out to at least over half of the population of teachers in Southeast Asia, how to utilize flexible learning modalities in the proper and right way. And we can only do that by this webinar series or reaching out to them in this open education way, open university way. Next is, I think there are opportunities for us in this new normal. So just like what our dear professors, Dr. Danielle and Dr. Patrick they have shared with us new digital tools. We need to share variety of online tools for language education and language resources for the virtual learning programs. We need to stay on track. Like teachers like us who've been teaching many years ago, we need to identify institutions and teachers who can help bring us back to this new normal way of teaching. And we should always seek new information as a person, as a teacher. You need to look on your own, be able to determine all the materials that you can make use in your classes, and stay connected with others like this. You have friends from the webinar. You are talking to others in not just in your country, but other countries. Stay connected virtually, gain new friends, gain new insights, and expand partners for the new normal. Last, as teachers, I think we should listen to the voices of the students. Whenever we teach, we need to get feedback from the learners. Are we utilizing the tools properly? Are they really learning or not? Are we using poll? Are we using materials that are relevant to them? Please consider the students' voices in terms of your intervention. And sometimes it's also good to invite them to co-create knowledge. When we ask for students' voices in our project on lecture series, we have received a lot of video materials from the students. They are very, very good materials and more than what we expected. And this is something new in this digital era, in this lockdown era, and in this new normal. So listen and invite students' voices and benefit from their, situation and their contributions. It's not just a one-way process that teachers teach and lecture and then just let the students fail, but listening to them, asking them to create knowledge would be better. So I think we have all of the materials in our channels. You can visit our website. You can take a look at the materials inside, and we would like to add more. So we hope that you can co-create all of these materials with CMEO Secretariat, and let us all address barriers to learning by working together and sharing each other's information and digital tools. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ethel. We can hear that Dr. Ethel talk about CMEO strategic plan 2021 to 2030, how COVID-19 pandemic has big impact and changed the educational landscape globally. Now we go to the next session, question and answer sessions. We have 30 minutes, 45 minutes, yeah? We have 45 minutes right now. So we also have many questions in the Q&A box. Okay, please share the question. Okay. Yeah, first question is from Santi Kusuma Dewi from Indonesia to Mr. Daniel. Yeah, is there any website or application that is suitable for vocational school students to improve their speaking skills? Mr. Daniel, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Ersa. Hello, Ibu Santi from Indonesia. Okay, so yeah, as I just presented earlier, I currently use Elsa Speak and then Orai. Yeah, so you can use both of the platform to improve your students' speaking skill. Yeah, it is more or less like self-study platform, so they can install on their phone, and yeah, they can get feedback on their own presentation. I guess students will like it. So you can also use, for example, like if you need them to present their ideas, you can use Vokeru, yeah, vokeru.com. So instead of uploading their voice on WhatsApp, yeah, because most of Indonesians are using WhatsApp, so you can use Vokeru. Wait a minute, I will type down the link, yeah, vokeru.com. Okay, nah, so you can try this or screencastify.com. Yeah, so once again, I'd like to expose my answer that it doesn't matter what technology you are using, as long as you can uh, reform the use. Yeah, there is no perfect, there is no something like a technology for vocational high school students. We would not find that one. All we can do is to reshape the use of a particular technology so that it can meet the objective of your class. I guess that's my answer. Thank you, Ibu Elsa.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. And the second question, I think, still for Mr. Daniel, yeah?
Okay.
Please share the second question. Okay. Yeah. One question, but from many many participants, yeah?
Yeah.
From AT Indonesia, I thank from Malaysia, Rini from Indonesia, Novi, and yeah, from many participants. The question is, could we use all the platform freely? Yeah. Free of
Okay.
charge. Okay, please, Mr.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Thank you, Ms. Ersa. So most of the platforms that I share to you are free of charge. Yeah. So, but for Lingua, I believe whenever we go already to a particular level, we have to pay for the premium package. So, but anyway, you can still use some free features that lingua.com provides. But most of them, most of other applications that are shared are free to use. And maybe you can also use this one, elo.com. Yeah, I just share it to you. Please have a look at the chat box and also ESL lab. Yeah. Hold a second. Oh, I'm sorry. That I can only share it to the panelists. So Vocaru is VOCAROO, Vocaru. And then ELLO.com for those who are going to learn, listening and reading, and they are free. Yeah. And yeah, so you can use uh, those applications to improve your students' skill. Back to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Yeah, your answer is, I think, it's very good answer, yeah, because we are waiting this answer, yeah, free for of charge. Yeah, and the next question, yeah, to Mr. Patrick, from Suharni and from Ibu Rili, yeah, Ibu Rilin. Okay, would you please explain more detail the difference between e-learning and blended learning? Please, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. So basically the difference is e-learning is the system. It's all the kind of material that Pat Daniel showed before. So it's in e-learning, basically the students is alone in front of the screen using a self-paced, a self-studying system, okay? So it's not accompanied by a teacher. Or in blended learning, what's happening is that you have the teacher guiding and supporting the teaching process by giving assignment, by controlling what the students use, what system the students is using. Okay, so basically, blended learning is a mix. This is why we call it blended. It's because it's a mix between the way we used to teach for century in front of the students physically with a human interaction, and e-learning with all the new technology that we have. So the mix of those two things make blended learning. So it means that it's a new way of teaching, actually. This is not it's quite new. It's only maybe 15 years old. It's a new, how can I say? It's a new way of teaching. It's a new concept because it appeared with the growth of technology and the internet and things like that. So we are still doing a lot of research about the way and about how to balance correctly regular teaching with e-learning. So how do we integrate basically all this technology into a teaching process? There are still many studies ongoing in many universities to try to solve this question and to try to find the best balance between between technology and human interaction. So that's basically the difference.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Patrick. And next question, please. Yeah, still to Mr. Patrick, yeah. How do teachers optimize the balance of the two learning techniques when the students have limitation of internet access? Technology, like motivation, and teachers also have limitation in teaching skills, technology, tools, and etc.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, please.
Okay, the best answer to that is to have a teaching plan, is to have a plan ready before you start teaching. Do not make any assumption about the power of the computer of the students or the power of internet. Try to use easily accessible material, and mostly make sure that before you start teaching, you have a very precise plan about what you plan to do and what you plan to teach with your students, and make sure that they have time to prepare. Maybe they need time to download a PDF, or maybe they will have time to look at a video or something like that. So you know that it will be difficult for them. So it means that you have to prepare this upfront, so you don't have any technical issue during your teaching process. You see, so the answer to this is about planification, and make sure that everything is ready way before you start teaching. And because if during the class you ask your students to click, I don't know, on a link, or if you ask them during the class to go on the website, you will be in trouble, because some of them will tell you, it's not working, or I don't have any Pulsat, or I don't know, something will happen. So the idea is to make sure that when they join the class, they don't have to do a lot of technical things they just have to listen to you or to practice the conversation. Basically, the answer is to make sure that you use your time, use the time you have with your students the best you can, and by avoiding to ask them to click on things or to download something, because it will disturb your teaching process.
We hope the teachers still have motivation, yeah.
But motivation, the answer is also into, if you are prepared, you can dedicate your time for motivation. Let's say to ask questions to the students, to make some jokes, or to have a bit of fun, because you know your students are attentive, that they are focused on you, they listen to you, and they're not busy trying to download something or to install something, because if they have to do that, you will lose them. They will be upset, they will be frustrated because it's not downloading, it's not fast enough. And then during this time, I mean, you can say everything you want, they will not listen to you. Okay, so that's why it's really important. If you know that technology will be a problem, that that they are ready before they join the session.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Patrick. Yeah, next question, please. Yeah, from Ibu Eti Sutrianti from Indonesia to Ms. Ethel. Does CMEO has certain and sustainable programs to help teachers and students in Southeast Asia during this pandemic era? Do you have such program for vocational school, especially in rural area? Please, Ibu Ethel.
Yes, I have already answered 12 questions, including this one for Ibu Eti. Yes.
But maybe you can repeat the answer, because maybe the same question from other participants also.
So I have put the answer in the Q&A box, and I have shared that we have all our programs and commitments from 2021 to 2030 in the full script of CMEO strategic plan, and that it concerns activities including TVET, which is actually in the education agenda since 2015. We are rendering around almost 285 plus activities per year, And some programs are actually within the CTVET network. So it includes mobility, it includes industry collaboration or secondment and internship in industries. It also includes capacity building for TVET teachers. That includes all, including the disadvantaged areas. So right now in the pandemic, we have temporarily prepared CityVet for development. All are in online lecture series and the ongoing collaboration, all materials on TVET. You can view them in the CTVET network. You can just click and go to our Simeo Tech Center in Brunei, Jerusalem. All TVET materials are there, policies, activities from all member countries of Simeo. Thank you so much.
Beta. Next question, please. Yeah, this is from Miss or Mr. I think Mr. Yeah, Mr. Galiper from Philippines to Mr. Patrick.
Yeah.
What is the best digital technology platform for that is the best to be used by language teachers in teaching 21st century learners?
Yeah, but the answer is very easy. It's Alticia, of course. Alticia is the best. You know why? Because Alticia was made by teachers. It was developed by the language center of the University of Louvain in Belgium. So basically, Alticia was designed by a teacher to teach Dutch to French-speaking students in Belgium more than 20 years ago. And it's still supported by the language center of the University of Louvain. So all the material that we have in Alticia, it's basically designed by linguists, by pedagogue, by scientists. So it's the result of more than 10 years of research and development. And it basically integrates all the challenge that we are talking today. It's to find the right balance between blended learning, e-learning, make sure the students have everything they need to adapt, to have a good learning pace. So of course, yeah, I'm not objective. So, but I would say that Alticia is the best.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patrick. Participants will try that in 3 months, yeah, in next 3 months.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Next question to Mr. Daniel from Ibu Lasma Dwima from Indonesia. How do we adapt syllabus from schools to the platform given?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Esra. So for Ibu Lasma Dwima, hi Ibu Dwima. Yeah, talking about the platforms that I gave a few moments ago, of course, it has nothing to do with the syllabus from school, yeah, because my focus is on the teacher's professional development. So here you can actually use them for on your leisure time, yeah. So it has nothing to do with the school agenda. So that's why I give you so many options that you can pick one should best to your needs. And I suggest you not to take all of them because like Mr. Loke just mentioned earlier that if we try to take all of them, then it will be so much confusing. So technology are around us so that we can adapt with our context. So don't take all of them. Yeah, and to be honest, yeah, for the best technology, then yeah, I should agree with Mr. Locke that Alticia is the best probably. Okay, so that's my answer, Ibu Esra.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Yeah, of course, Mr. Patrick fully agree with Mr. Daniel answers.
Yes, of course,
Okay.
of course.
Next question.
But if I can add something, if you don't mind.
Yes, okay, please, Mr. Patrick.
Just you have to know that Alticia was chosen by the European Commission to implement the OLS system of the Erasmus Plus program. So actually we have the experience that was described in this presentation because one of our biggest program was to implement e-learning system for language for all Erasmus students. So it's more than 6 million students. And we collaborate with the European Commission for more than 7 years for this program. So, and this is what I feel is that here in the ASEAN region, this is what you try to implement. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patrick. Next question to Mr. Daniel from the same person with the last one. Yeah, is the replica AI only for chatting with the AI, or can we have the replica to talk to us as well?
Okay, so for replica, this can only chat us. So we are not able to talk to the robot yet. Probably they are thinking about that capacity, but maybe not in the near future, not today. Hopefully in the near future. So if you are thinking about talking to robot, then it's not cheap. Yeah, I guess there are some platforms that are paid. Yeah, for example, monthly. I guess. Sorry, the other one. I need to go and check the right platform for that. But I happen to find one. Yeah, and it is not free. But I guess as teachers, as we always tell our students to be confident, please be confident when talking to others and so on and so forth. We need to start from ourselves. Yeah. I'm currently joining Ome TV. If you ever found Vicky Naki on YouTube, one of the most prominent YouTuber around Indonesia. So a few weeks ago, yeah, I joined Ome TV and I met people from Saudi Arabia, from Turkey, from many other countries, and it also helps me to be confident in talking to others because in the near future, I'm planning to ask my students, yeah, to meet real people, not robot, yeah, so they can apply their language skills, yeah, with no matter who they will meet, yeah, from other people around the world, yeah, and test themselves, yeah, because uh, at the end, yeah, what matters the most is the meaning of our language, right? So that's the first measure, I guess, and the second, the third would be the accuracy and so on. So I guess this is an important agenda that, yeah, talking to robot for some time is okay. To have a chatbot, that's cool, yeah. But sometimes we should meet real new people. And in this pandemic, we can go anywhere, but we have so many options, yeah. Ome TV, and I don't know if Aldicia would provide that kind of feature. Well, hopefully, Mr. Patrick
Yeah.
would think about that.
Actually we are collaborating with the University of Toronto in Canada to develop what we call NLP. It's natural language processing. All the system used by these replica AI and artificial intelligence is basically still in heavily research area. So it's not yet finished, but we are trying to develop an engine based on NLP, so natural language processing. The idea is to interpret what you say and what you write, so the robots can elaborate an answer, but it's still in a very early stage. So there's nothing is perfect now, and it will not be ready before maybe 10 years or something from now, because it's too basic, and the complexity of language. My language, for example, French, is a very complex language, and it's almost impossible to find a robot that's speaking French correctly because the language is so complex. So it's not now that this system will be replacing teacher anytime soon, because of the culture, because of all the feelings, because you have so many more things in a language than just the grammar and the vocabulary. There's much more than that. So this is why a teacher will always be needed to have a real and a quality conversation with the students.
Yeah. Yeah, can I add one more idea maybe to add Mr. Patrick's?
Yes, please, Mr. Daniel.
So I found it really interesting when he mentioned about culture. Yeah, because whenever we are talking to whenever we are talking about language, then we cannot just separate that with culture. So I read some comments here on chat box that talking to human being, yeah, Mr. Johannes, you're mentioning true realistic partner to communicate is important. Yes, because we share culture, we can share the understanding that um, intercultural understanding, yeah, between countries is very interesting because whenever we go to the country, maybe we are not only using the language, but we need to understand the custom, the culture itself. So I'm gonna wait for the you know the platform until it's ready, Mr. Patrick. Yeah, hopefully in the next
Of course, but we
years to
work,
come.
for example, in Altisa, we already have a speech recognition system to detect the right pronunciation. It's already very difficult actually to implement, but the students can practice their pronunciation on certain words. It's not a conversation, it's just something that can evaluate the pronunciation of the students. So it's a first step, but we will integrate more in the future.
Yeah, can't wait.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Daniel. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. We go to the next question from Siska from Indonesia to Mr. Patrick. What percentage of the material is called interactive learning media? If one video for 7 pages text, is it okay?
Well, it's a very precise question. It depends on the content. I would say it could be okay as long as your students are attentive, as long as they listen to you and they listen to the video. But it seems like a good balance between interactivity and text. Of course, you have to make sure that the students are seeing and that reading the text. So that's why the way you collect information from them is important. So you may have to interrogate them or to ask them, okay, is it clear? Do you have any question about the text? So it needs to be structured, but it seems like a good balance, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patrick. Next question. Yeah, to Mr. Daniel, I would like to know that is it possible for me to download the material from the platform you tell us just now? Please, Mr. Daniel.
Okay, do you mean the slides that I shared? Do you mean the slides? If it is the slides, then I already shared it to Ibu Esra. Then
yeah, Mr. Daniel, this question I think maybe to Mr. Patrick. I think it's possible to Mr. Patrick. No, is it to Daniel or to Mr. Patrick? Because
could you repeat the question?
Oh,
I don't see
okay.
the question anymore.
Okay, Mr. Daniel, you share so many platforms, so I think the question for you.
For me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So if you think that if what you mean is the slides that I shared, then I already shared the link to Ibu Esra. Then the committee later will share my slides to you. Don't worry, it's free to download.
Okay. Yes. Next question, please. To Mr. Patrick from Ibu Suharni. What do you think with the fact that someday the technology will change the teacher's roles?
Yeah, well, actually, the most important change that will happen is in the future, teacher will not spend time teaching the basics. Like I said before, explaining about grammar or spending time to list a number of words or vocabulary is something that the teacher will not do in the future. Basically, the future role of the teacher with all this technology will be to make sure the students, for language at least, to spend time in conversation, and also to make sure the students is doing his assignments, is basically doing everything the teacher should do in terms of academic task. make sure that the students are still on track, make sure they understand everything, they follow, help the students who are struggling, support the students who wants to go faster, and it will make the teaching much more efficient actually if the teacher can spend more time in these tasks instead of going on the board and writing things. For me, this is the kind of activity of the past, because the time you spend to write something on the board, or the time you spend to explain a very basic rule in a language, this is something all the e-learning system can do, or even practicing vocabulary. So basically, the future teacher will spend much more time to truly support the students in their learning activities, which is very, very good actually, because you will, the students will learn much faster, and they have a high quality teaching experience.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Because we have limitation time, I think we still share one question more, yeah? Please, Mr. Bayu. Yeah, this is to Mr. Patrick. From Nursila binti Jul
Yeah.
Muhammad, how can we support people who move at a significantly quicker pace in
Yeah.
the blended learning?
What you can do is to give them, you can give them assignments that are linked to their level. So if you feel that a pupil wants to go faster, just give them more difficult exercise and more difficult subject. So you can give them, you can use all the e-learning resources, so they can move faster. That's one advantage of the blended learning, is actually you can give material and you can feed the students whatever their level is, so they don't feel frustrated because it's too slow or too fast. That's the biggest advantage of blended learning.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. I think let us end this session. Yeah. Please join me in applause for our speakers, Dr. Ethel, Mr. Patrick, and Mr. Daniel, and also for the active participants. Thank you very much, all of you. Because it is almost 12, we must end this session. And we invite Dr. Luani Mayani, the director of Siameo Kitab in Language, to conclude this webinar. Please, Ibu Luhani.
Thank you, Ibu Esra. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dearest participants, let me conclude this webinar from three esteemed keynote speakers just now. The first, what we can conclude is that technology can ease teachers and learners to enhance their language competency, either receptive skills or productive skills. Second, as technology will never replace teachers' roles, teachers need to balance the the e-learning and the face-to-face learning. Simeo Strategic Plans 2021-2030 aim to promote equitable, quality education, and lifelong learning. COVID-19 has disrupted education globally. It has impacted education, has caused learning loss. It also caused changes from face-to-face learning, which has to be moved forward to online learning or hybrid learning. Therefore, learning in the digital age should be able to prepare learners for technological advancement, to develop fullest potentials of students to fulfill 21st century workplace. Policymakers should strengthen collaboration with bi or multilateral partners and international organizations to ensure education continuity. Addressing those changes, CML centers and partners has provided various online learning resources to ensure learners and teachers gaining knowledge on digital learning in new normal. Finally, CMEO sees 5S opportunities for the new normal. It's an opportunity to share variety of resources, to stay on track, to seek new information, to stay connected, and student voices need to be heard. Specifically, for CMEO Kitabin language, this webinar opened a new opportunity to organize a new training, which can address the needs of teachers and also benefits for language teacher. The training that we just are concerned about is training on online classroom management, in which we can discuss about at least 3 things. The first one is the use of digital tools and platform for language teachers. Second, about blended learning, how to balance e-learning and face-to-face learning. And the last one is online language learning methodology. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ibu Luhani Mayani. Before the speakers leave the room, let us do the last item on the agenda. One last group photo session. Please open your camera, give your best smile, and I will count 1 to 3. Pak Patrick, Mr. Patrick, please. Okay. Okay. I will count 1, 2. Kembali Bapak Mr. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. On behalf of CMEO Kitab in Language, I would like to thank to Dr. Ethel, Mr. Patrick, Mr. Daniel, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and also all of our online course participants. I will leave this next session to Mr. Mega. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Esra, for the opportunity that has given to me. Could you clear my voice clearly to check? Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity that has given to me. In this final sessions of the webinar, I'd like to explain of the Artisia platform itself and the technical implementations for the participants for these 3 months. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, this final session is intended for 600 participants only. So what I will be talking about is how to use Artisia platform and the training mechanism itself to achieve the certificate in the end of the training. For the first, I will start with the questions. How does Artisia help you? As we already know that blended learning itself consists of e-learning itself and the traditional teaching methodology, and I will be focused on Artisia as a digital platform to increase your language competencies for these 3 months. And next, because today is the 5th of April, and this is the first day of your learning journey and inside the platform. So I will explain where do we start learning, from which materials to be learned, from which missions or lessons to be learned for the first time. And in the last, I will be also talking about the mechanism of this training, the requirements, the minimum time spent inside the platform to be spent in order to receive the certificates. For the first, what makes Artisia special, besides of other e-language learning platforms, the answer is we provide the learning path, the materials, the adaptive materials, and the adaptive language assessments. If you remember when you were activating your account several days ago, you were asked to select your learning path based on your interest, and we were also asked to select the language level based on your placement test result. It's very important because Artisia will create the customized learning path designed only for you. Adaptive learning path provides the effective learning materials based on your need and interest and your selected level of the placement test result. It is important because after activating your account, after you are inside the platform, inside Artisia, you will learn the specific materials designed for you, and it is different one and another participant. So it is important to know where you are. If you are in B2, if you are in B1 level, so you will need to learn in the level and one higher level to achieve one higher level in the end of these 3 months. And for the language assessment, we have adaptive language assessment that allows you to reveal the strengths and the weaknesses of your language skills. If you remember, you have already done the placement test, and you will do the final test in the end of this training. Those placement tests and those final tests are called language assessments inside the platform itself. So adaptive language assessment will lead you to the customized learning path, your language assessment, your placement test result, and then your choice of learning path. If you remember, you were asked to choose the learning path, daily life, and then progress in the language, etc. And the system will create a list of missions adapted to the level and interests of each learner. And so Artisia helps you by providing customized learning path and customized adaptive language assessments in order to help you to be having the more competencies in your language competencies. So Artisia help you to increase your language specialty using the digital platform itself. And the next question is, where do you start learning? I'm sure that most of you have already activated your account, and you can see in your home menu is designed only for you. You can see the missions and then the lessons inside the platforms, inside your home menu, and it is designed specifically for you. The question is, where do the materials come from? It comes from your learning path and from your selected level. So you need to start by finishing materials on your level based on the placement test result. If you can see inside the home menu, if you are in B2, then you can start from B2 level, for example. And then after you complete all the materials inside the home menu, I'm sure that it should be less than 3 months actually. So what is the next step? The next step is you can move to all lessons menu that select materials in your level or on above. You will see the complete materials, the complete user guide in the guidelines that I shared you on email and the Telegram. You can look it up there. And if you clicked the lesson, sorry. If you click the lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, it consists of a set of exercises and a set of materials. In a mission is a topic that you will learn inside the platform, and then for the lessons, let's see here. Yeah, if I click the lesson, it will provide you a set of exercises, video, and then the vocabulary, the pronunciation itself, and summary tests. The vocabulary lessons have been designed so that you can discover and practice vocabulary completely and autonomously. For the first, you need to watch a video. So 90% of the materials inside Artesia is designed in video format. So besides learning the specific topic, you will also need to learn the listening sections by listening to the explanations of monologue and dialogues inside this video. There is also data that you can switch on and off to let you be better in listening section also. Followed by several exercises 1, 2, and 3, maybe more in different materials, and also vocabulary as a systematization of your learning journey. And what is unique is the pronunciations section, where you can speak the selected words, and then it will direct you to have instant feedback. So the platform will give you the instant feedback how will you speak those words. And in the end, in the summary test, you will be evaluated by performing several questions for all the materials provided in the selected topic. Next one is grammar. Actually, I took several examples. This is vocabulary, this is a grammar, but you will need to explore more in the user guides that I sent you. In grammar, you will see set of exercise, set of grammar rules, and set of grammatical topic that you will need to learn inside of your learning path. And we go down into the receptive skills. Besides learning in home menu, which is your learning path, there is also a new sections where you can watch videos and updated daily videos and read the articles, the updated daily articles, and then do some quizzes inside the platform itself. By watching a video, you are not only learning how to understand the selected topic, but you also learn how to listen to the native speakers as well, followed by several exercises and a vocabulary list, and also a summary test itself. And this is the pronunciations that I talked about. It will give you instant feedback to you, that it will replay your recording when you pronounce something. In your usual class, it's difficult to provide personal feedback for each learner, but you will have instant feedback. This is the most powerful feature in the pronunciation section. And we go down to the mechanism of this training. I'm sure that you already read and know about the mechanism of this training, but I will repeat it and make it clear for you, so we will have the perfect understanding about these programs as well. The first one, for the language, it is mandatory for you to learn the selected language that you teach. We already know that inside the platform, we will have 22 languages. You can learn 22 languages inside the platform, 22 popular European languages. But you will need to get focused on your language that you teach, for example, English or German, etc., etc. And for the learning target, it is expected for you to achieve one higher level during these 3 months. So we will only consider the placement test that you have done before the activation process. And about the learning process, self-paced learning, you have the self-paced learning that you can learn out here based on your free time in the morning, in the day, in the afternoon, in the night maybe. You have your best, but the point is, it is an obligatory for you that you will learn at least 1 hour per day to reach the minimum target, 64 hours learning inside the platform for 3 months. And we will do monitoring and assessment. You will receive at least a weekly reminder for you to remind that you have to spend 64 hours inside the platform. And in the end of the week of these 3 months, which is 20th June to the 5th of July 2021, you will do a final test to reveal how much you improve after this 3 months training. We will only consider the first final test that you do. And this is the most important part of this training, is the output of the training. We will issue the certificate of recipients, and also we have several requirements for you to be accomplished as well. The first one, recipients of the certificate of participations. This certificate will be issued by Sikil. You need to manage your time spent inside the platform for minimum 64 hours and complete the training evaluation form. And the second one, for the certificate of achievement, will be issued by Altisia if you spend minimum 64 hours and achieved one or more level based on placement test and the final result itself. So next, the tentative schedule. This is the schedule that you have already had before. We will do the final test in this date, and we'll do this training in this date. But the thing is that I want to say that you will have your own time to do the learning inside the platform, and then don't forget to follow all the requirements here, because this is important. So if you still have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me and discuss with me on Telegram or email, and we will proceed your request that has already asked to me after this webinar. And please note that your learning time, your time spent of these 64 hours will be started from today. So your time spent that you already have before or several days ago for the activation process, we will not count it as your time spent. We will count it start from today after this webinar. So this is several informations from me. If you still have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me and at Telegram and or email. Thank you. I will stop sharing and I will give the floor back to Sikil.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mega Hermawan, for the presentation. Hope it will help the participant to understand the feature of Altisia platform as well as the mechanism of the training much better right now. So before we officially close today's activity, I would like to remind all the participants once again to first, join the Telegram group for the ease of communication with the committee during the training. The detailed information on how to join the group have been sent via email, so please kindly check your inbox. Second, as today marked the first day of the training, please make sure to activate your account in Altisia platform. And for that, kindly check your email or Telegram group for detailed information. And the last one, to participate in Zoom meeting, please don't forget to fill out the attendance list. The committee has shared it in the chat box. We will only give the e-certificate to those attended the event on have completed the attendance list. Yeah, dearest participant, we have come to the end of the webinar on improving teachers' foreign language competence in the digital era. We wish you all the success for the 3 months training. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you for your participation, and we do apologize for any inconvenience happened during the event. Stay safe, stay healthy, see you at the next event. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
To make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a step for our visions alone, making future for the people to grow. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams.